Well, good morning, and today is a celebration of an incredibly important event. We are excited to be here to announce that the preschool expansion grant is working well in Springfield, and there's no better place for us to be than in Springfield, Massachusetts. About a year ago, really only a little more than a year ago, it's hard to imagine, we got an opportunity from the federal government to apply for a grant to provide innovative, high-quality preschool to 4-year-olds for free. And we were allowed to be creative in the kind of model that we wanted to develop. And we had determined that the best way for us to go forward as a Commonwealth is one with partnership right in the center of it. And there's no better place for us to come to than Springfield, Massachusetts, because the partnerships have been here on the ground for some time, and they have been a labor of love of this community. And I'm proud to be here this morning with a number of representatives of the community. They're all going to speak shortly. And I'm here to say that we are about to do something that I think will inform not only the path forward for the children of Springfield, but the children across this Commonwealth. We know that high-quality early education can make a difference in children's lives. We also know that if we don't get to children soon enough, that those children are very likely to underperform their peers in classrooms throughout the course of their lives. And so we start early because we know that that's where our resources are best placed. And we start early because as a Commonwealth, we know that our children are our future and that we can make a real strong difference. Springfield is the recipient of $3.8 million of funding through this grant. But more important than the dollars is what they are doing with the dollars. This is a critical partnership, and it starts at the top. Mayor Sarno has been an incredible partner. A year ago, at this time, this building was vacant. This is one of the best early education facilities that we have in the Commonwealth. The mayor stepped up to the plate, worked with the superintendent, and brought this building back into the fold for early education. And that's a wonderful thing. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for that leadership. That does not happen everywhere. That does not happen everywhere. The superintendent has been a visionary leader. He understands that the public schools need to be a partner with our private early education system. That does not happen everywhere. We were in a position to be successful in getting this grant because of the strong leadership that we have received from the State House over the course of many, many years, and from community partners here, including the Davis Foundation. Strategies for Children is here today. But in particular, the leadership that we've had in the legislative delegation, and thank you all for joining us here today, the members of the legislative delegation, and we look forward to hearing you say a few words in just a few brief moments. But I especially want to note this work of providing high-quality early education and care is not new. And you have here 3 amazing partners. We have the Holyoke Chicopee Head Start, we have the Square One program, and we have the YMCAs of Greater Springfield. We wanted to bring together the public schools. We wanted to bring together those community-based partners, and we wanted to leverage the strengths of both systems on behalf of children here in Springfield. And we're doing that. It's because of the players who are on the ground here. I was asked earlier, why did you choose Springfield? The answer is, why wouldn't we have chosen Springfield? Springfield is precisely the place that we wanted to come and do this work. And again, this opportunity would not have been present if not for the hard work of my colleagues at the Department of Early Education and Care. They've laid the foundation over the course of a decade of the department's existence. Anita Moeller is leading the Preschool Expansion Grant Initiative here and across 4 other communities. And I'm joined here by a number of colleagues here from our Western Mass Regional Office, which is based right here in downtown Springfield. They did all the hard work necessary to position us for success, and all the hard work in the days leading up to opening these programs, which is not an easy feat. So I want to thank them for doing all of that difficult licensing work. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank Springfield for the leadership that's providing, and I'd like to invite some of our community partners to talk, because in the end, the way that we're going to carry this forward, both on the ground here in Springfield and across the Commonwealth, is through partnerships, leveraging the resources that we have in place in early education in K-12, and leveraging the partnerships that we are forging here and we intend to replicate across the Commonwealth. And I begin by introducing Mayor Sarno.
Tom, thank you. Commissioner Weber has been a good friend, not only professionally but personally, in working together and facilitating this. And it's all about relationships and being able to pick up the phone. And I really want to commend from the delegation here, Senator Lesser and Senator Welch is here, Representative Gonzalez, Representative Swan, and all the providers, Janice and Head Start and Joan on square one, Dexter on the Y, and just I saw Jack Dill that was here earlier, and very well he did, but how this and really to the vision, the Superintendent Dan Warwick and his team, how this really came about. And again, we know we have a great partner with Commissioner Weber. Was unfortunately early childhood was going by the wayside. The superintendent, Dan, and I believe Pat Sullivan were up here at the time, and I received a phone call. I was in the middle of a meeting, and said we have an outstanding opportunity, but we need about $2.3 million or so to make this come true. Immediately I dispatched TJ Plant to come up here, and we knew with the connections and great relationships we have with the state and Commissioner Weber, we could make this happen. So within a day's time, we made it happen. And I always say, and I want to be sure because I know we have a lot of other people that need to speak and should speak, especially our partners, any urban mayor, he or she in America, if you're going to continue to knock down poverty and public safety issues, three things. And we went to the tour was fantastic. The kids 3 to 4 years old, how bright and intelligent, and we're nurturing that. But three things are needed. Three things. One, a familia, family number one, and facilitating with the family. 1A, education. And we need to get to our kids and families as early as possible, no matter what creed, color, or background. Is it tough to teach in an urban environment? Yes, it is, but it is not impossible, and we're doing it in creative ways. And then eventually, jobs, and that's key. Last thing I'll say, we had the State Democratic Convention here at the Mass Mutual Center, and there's a young lady here who has a golden voice, and this is why we do our jobs, elected and appointed officials here. This is from our heart. If not for us galvanizing together to obtain the Early Childhood Center, then moving to receive this multi-million-dollar grant, then getting a public and private partnership going, which is very, very neat. Springfield leading the way. Vanessa, I didn't get my grandchild was on a waiting list. My grandchild would never have had the opportunity to get in this program. She showed me the proud photos with the little tie on and how proud she was. Vanessa Ford from Senator Welch's office. We'd have kids on a waiting list. So what each and every one of you do, maybe you're not going to get that pat in the back, but I want to say thank you because it's going to pay dividends down the road. Springfield is a good city with many, many families and individuals of all backgrounds that are doing the right thing. And this was the right thing to do. I commend Superintendent Warwick, our state partners, our private partners, and again, Commissioner Weber has been absolutely fantastic carrying the water for us. So to each and every one of you, just a great day in Springfield. I learned how to, I tied some more shoes today. I learned how to, with Caleb, he built a pretty big building, and I tried to stay within the lines when I colored.
You're saying that the superintendent was not the first person to approach you with a really great idea that only needed a few $1 million. But I think
you're right about that.
I think you bet on the right one in this case. I mentioned earlier that we were the beneficiary of a really strong legacy of work here in Massachusetts. When you're applying competitively for these federal grants, there are only 13 states in the country that got a preschool expansion grant. Massachusetts was one of them. And we were really advantaged because of some wise decisions that have been made over the course of the last decade plus. And a big part of that was the creation of the Department of Early Education and Care, which the legislature did 10 years ago. And they have made significant and important investments along the way in quality, particularly over the last several years. And so I want to invite the members of the legislative delegation to come up one by one, if they would, to say a few words. And I want to start by inviting Senator Welch to the podium.
Let me get behind the podium here, but good morning, everybody, and to my colleagues in government, in the legislature, obviously Mayor Sarno and Superintendent Warren, and Commissioner Weber, especially, and your staff and your team that has done such great work. And obviously today is as we took the tour, is an example and shining example of the great work that's being done here in Massachusetts. And as we collect here, I guess, in the room, and it's all adults, right? But it's the best thing about it, I think, is just the fact that it's teamwork, adults working to make sure that children have the opportunity to succeed, and that's what this is really all about. I do want to take a special note for all those that work in early childhood care and education. You know, the work that you do is immeasurable. You know, obviously, and the mayor had stated, it's something that will continue to pay off for years and years and years. But the work that you do is something that we all appreciate. I know that, and you know, this is a great example of teamwork. We have your back. You guys do such tremendous work with our kids that we can't say enough to say thank you. But thank you anyway. And you know, along the teamwork kind of model as well, when you think about this, federal, state, local, all working together to ensure that the resource is there for our kids, and that's what it's really all about. So I want to say thank you. It's great. I'll turn it over back to Commissioner Weber so he can bring up one of our colleagues. But this is a great day. Thank you, and thank you for everything.
Senator Lesser.
You have to do a hop, skip, and jump.
Well, I'll be very brief, and I'll just say, you know, to echo on what Senator Welch just said, this is really an example of almost a dizzying array of groups and governments that have come together to make this possible. A federal grant made possible through a state infrastructure, and of course, it wouldn't happen without the tremendous city leadership we have with the mayor and the superintendent, and of course, our nonprofit partners who I see all around the room. You know, study after study, and frankly, common sense shows that the earlier you get to children, the more leverage, the more impact you're going to have on that child's ability to live a fulfilling and educated life. And as the mayor said in the introduction, we know what the key is to economic growth and opportunity, not just in Western Massachusetts, but frankly, throughout the country, and that's in a knowledge-based economy and in an innovation-based economy. If you have the tools to get yourself educated, then you will have the tools to make it. And we unfortunately know what the consequences are when that doesn't happen. And so when we were touring the classrooms today and meeting some of the young kids, they're actually not much older than my own daughter, who's a little over 2. And I was thinking to myself, I mean, what is going to be possible now for these 3 and 4 and 5-year-olds because of the work of everyone in this room? What doors are going to be open to them that might not have been open before? What opportunities will they be able to create, not only for themselves, but for their families in the years to come? So I'm just so grateful to be a part of this, and you have my promise that as we continue to work on making this program a success, and it certainly already is, we're going to continue as a delegation to have your back and continue to make sure that early education is a priority in the state. Because of all the ways public dollars can be spent, I think few can argue with the fact that it goes a very, very long way when it's dedicated to our youngest members of our community. So thank you, and congratulations on today.
I'd like to introduce a longtime representative of this community and an advocate for our young children, Representative Benjamin Swan.
Well, thank you, Commissioner. I'm pleased to be here. First, I want to just say welcome to the 11th Hampton District, all of you. You're right in the district, right in the heart of it. But it's good to be here on this occasion, and I want to just simply, I don't want to say everything that's been said, but I do want to point out some very important players in this activity. And in addition to the Commissioner Weber, and the Mayor, I want to especially commend Superintendent of Schools, and Walter. And I also want to commend those individuals who have firsthand, on the ground, working relationship with the youngsters, Square One, and Holyoke Community, Springfield, Holyoke, Springfield, Chicopee Head Start program. But all of you who work with youngsters, you know, I'm the age-wise, I'm the senior member of the legislature, and but a great deal of my priority is still with youth, because I know that it is the future of our country, future of our community, future of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And it's so important to give them a head start. See, I'm one of those persons who also visit jails at the Department of Corrections. So I know what happened to youngsters when they don't get an early start in education. And we want to make sure that we eliminate as much as possible, because last week we met at the mayor's office and we talked about, Speaker Leo was in town, and we talked about violence prevention. And well, if you talk about violence prevention, if you talk about anything dealing with the future of young people, you still got to come back to that early intervention. And that's so important. So for that reason, I appreciate all of you being here. Thank you so much. Welcome again.
I just want to acknowledge Comisionado Weber. Muchas gracias. Bienvenido. And to the mayor and my colleagues and to everybody else. I don't want to go on, but Ben, you took I wanted to acknowledge our superintendent, because I went to meet with him and he highlighted the importance of some of the issues that were going on during the budget period of time. And I could see in his eyes the passion, the desire to make sure that the kids receive the appropriate education necessary. And he was, and still I consider, the principal of my children, who are doing better things now. So I salute you and congratulate you. Thank you. Everybody talked about something. I just want to two folks that, to me, they're educational influencers. And they have been for me in my previous life and before, and that's Mary Wallachy and Sally Fuller. I mean, you guys always, when I hear your names or I see the emails come in, I know it's about education, I know it's about children, I know it's about, you know, the community, and I gotta just say, sometimes the Tosados, the Sanchez, and the Gonzalez have not received the appropriate education. And these women are fighting for all, whether it's Smith or Riley or Smith or Gonzalez or Tosado. So I want to salute you all. And the demographics in the city of Springfield and most of these cities that we're talking about have a high concentration of Latino folks. And if we're going to lift this community up, like the mayor says, everybody needs to be at the table of success. And I am so excited to be able to say that, yes, I am a Latino legislator, but more importantly, I'm a legislator that believes that if we bring up the Latino community with all the communities, we all win. There's no better investment. There's no better investment than early child development at the earliest child possible time, period. So this expansion grant and the federal government, Congressman Neal, needs to be acknowledged also, the state leaders as well as the local. I just want to salute, decir muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Representative. I'm about to introduce the local partners, the people that are actually making all of this possible, the people who over the course of the last 8 months have really committed themselves, heart and soul, into pulling this off. It was no easy feat to open doors to these programs over the course of this past week or two. And they really deserve incredible credit for having accomplished that. And the leadership that they're providing, again, this is incredibly important to the children who are going to be receiving these services here in Springfield. But it's also incredibly important to what we have to learn so that we can model this in other communities. And so this is really a pioneering effort. I want to say just very, very quickly what we're talking about when we're talking about high quality here. We're talking about a full year. We're talking about 12 months. We all live in a 12-month calendar. Families, particularly families who are working and often have multiple jobs and working, are on a 12-month calendar. And it's a full day, meaning a minimum of 8 hours each day, not a full school day, longer than a full school day. This is an incredibly important opportunity. We're also talking about having excellent early educators in every classroom who are respected with a salary that's commensurate with their public school peers, and are supported with strong professional development, including coaching and mentoring, and a high-quality curriculum that aligns with the public schools so that kids are transitioning, as we would want them to, seamlessly from early education into a kindergarten classroom. Those are among the high-quality components of this program. We've learned over the course of time that this is what we want our children to have, and we're able to deliver it. And who no better deserves that than the children of this community? And the representative is right. This is a program that's designed to meet the needs of all of our families and recognizes the changing demographics of the state. Massachusetts is considered to be a high-performing state, relative to its peers across the country, but our achievement gaps are just as pronounced as any other state, and we can't let our overall performance mask the performance of some of the children who we have not successfully met their needs. And our changing demographics show us that there are more students of color, there are more English language learners, and there are more children who are in need of special services, and this is precisely where early education excels and why we need to employ it as a strategy. The Baker-Polito administration is taking that seriously, and the legislature is taking that seriously, and that's why we're making this a priority. But it doesn't happen without local partnerships, and what was critical to this is that we aligned the public schools with our licensed community-based providers. And Dan Warwick, who you've heard now referenced by just about every speaker, is an outstanding leader and one of the best representatives of our public school districts, because he really does authentically believe that this is about a partnership, that these children are the public schools children, and they don't see any distinction. And so it's my pleasure, Dr. Warwick, to invite you.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Commissioner Weber, for the opportunity to participate in this grant. I was asked earlier today, was I surprised that Springfield was a partner in the grant? And I said no. I think the partnerships and collaborations that have gone on in Springfield for years around early childhood education are something that people want to invest in. And I think at the conclusion of this grant, we're hoping that the state would want to invest in it in the urban areas for all of our students. Because if we're going to change outcomes for our students in the urban areas where we have the achievement gap, we're going to have to approach early childhood education differently. And I think Springfield is poised to do this, and we're so grateful to everyone for the grant. I think just to start with our political leaders, the mayor, you know, a city that has some challenges. I remember calling him from this center. That is absolutely a true story. I had Pat Roach with me, our finance person, and we looked at the center and thought, even if we get this PEG grant, we're not going to have the classrooms we need to provide the kind of education we need. And called the mayor, he called his our chief financial officer for the city in, and within an hour we had a meeting, and he guaranteed me the money for this early childhood center on the spot. So that to me is leadership, it's educational leadership, political leadership, and we're very fortunate in this community to have an outstanding mayor and all that. And he consistently says yes every time we're trying to get a new building or a new curriculum. When we call,
Danny, you're going to all line up now.
Another offer.
To education now. And I think our legislative delegation, so grateful for the consistent support of our reps and senators, and they're here today, and they've been here for us over the years. This summer I called them all on the kindergarten, full-day kindergarten expansion grant, and they delivered it and restored the money. That's $1 billion that was put back in our elementary schools so that we can provide high-quality full-day kindergarten to our students. So that's the kind, when I'm talking about leadership, I'm talking about not what people say, but what they actually do. And our legislative delegation has been there for us and are going to be there for us in the fight. I think the reason we got this grant is because of the partnerships in this city. I think Square One, Jonah is here, YMCA is here, and Janice Santos from Head Start, Dexter from YMCA. They've been great partners in this preschool initiative for years. We understand that we can't do this alone. It's a community effort. And without outstanding partnerships, and this is all about partnerships and collaboration, today wouldn't be happening. We wouldn't be getting an expansion grant, and quite frankly, we wouldn't be operating cooperatively within the center to provide, and I think Commissioner Weber alluded to this, high-quality preschool with a consistent curriculum, be it a public preschool or a private preschool. We're all on the same team. And I think that collaboration is what's going to move this system forward, and I'm just so grateful to them. We have community partners as well. I think Mary and Sally from the Davis Foundation have provided consistent support with this collaboration, and we're so grateful to that community effort because it takes the entire community to move this agenda forward. And I think across the Commonwealth, we have an opportunity to make preschool a priority, and if we want to move the urban centers forward and not have the achievement gaps, we have to invest in preschool consistently and now. And we're going to give you the results from this grant that would make the legislature want to fund preschool the way we need to in the urban centers. We guarantee that. also take a chance. You know, we bought this building in the spring. We took it over at the beginning of the summer, and some of my team have been working literally all summer together with the Head Start folks, Square One folks, the YMCA folks, to make this a reality. So we have Laura Menz, who was our lead on the tech grant. Rose Walzak, who's hiding back there, I think. And just been here day to day to make this whole situation happen for us and move forward. So very, very proud and very, very grateful today, and looking forward to working with all of you to ensure we get the preschool funding we need as a Commonwealth for the future by showing the results based on this initiative. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're bringing together the public school system and the licensed system of early education and care, and we're so very fortunate to have such strong provider operators here in Springfield. And so it's my pleasure to introduce Jana Santos, who's been a long-time leader in this work. I'm still kind of youngish. Wouldn't perhaps know from the white hair, and then when I grew this beard, I realized that I had even more white hair. But Janice has been in this work for decades and has been an incredible leader, and she's been a wonderful leader up to this very moment in this pioneering effort. So thank you.
Good morning, and thank you, Commissioner. Our hearts are heavy today in Head Start for Nicole Blaze and her family in the Lord. But I wanted you to know that Nicole herself was a Head Start kid, and Sue Goslin and I were her Head Start teachers just a few years ago. But if Nikki were here today, she would tell you that her success is due to her Head Start experience as well as a good beginning in school. So we in Head Start are so pleased and honored to be a partner in this great collaboration with the public schools, Square One and the Y. As an early childhood educator myself for over 40 years, I'm well aware of the benefits of a high-quality early childhood experience for children. We in Head Start assure that our children are ready, our children and our families are ready for their first experience in public school. We know that a good beginning in school sets the foundation for their school success and later in life. So thank you to all the folks that are up here for their wonderful support. And again, thank you so much for this vision from our commissioner. We think of you as our champion. So thank you.
Square One is a terrific leader here and has been a terrific leader across the state in providing high-quality early education. And Joan Kagan has been a wonderful leader and a wonderful friend. She's a great leader on two accounts. One, when things aren't going quite right at the department, she's not afraid to write to me and let me know and provide some constructive ideas. And I will say this, and this is most important to me, if things aren't going quite right, she's also quick to write to me and say, is there anything that I can do? And that really is a wonderful thing, Joan. So if you would kindly come forward.
Thank you. Well, really, all I need to say is ditto to everything that's been said up here. It's because it has been said, but I think what you've really heard is that this is really about a community coming together, and it's about community in the largest definition. We've got our government officials, we have at all different levels, the local and the state level, and even the federal level with Congressman Neal. Excuse me. We also have our business community had come together to also help us, our philanthropic community and the public and private organizations. So it really has been about a community coming together, and that is really how we're going to make a difference in the lives of these children. When we went into the classrooms, this is week 2, and last week was a short week. These are 4-year-olds who have never had a preschool experience before. And this is going to be a tremendous gift for them. And if you noticed how engaged they were, that they were really engaged in the activities that the teachers were starting. And we know that as they start to learn that after this after their 4 years, they're 4 years of age, next year when they go off to kindergarten, they're going to be ready. And we know that children learn to read through 3rd grade. After 3rd grade, they read to learn. And so we know that that is a harbinger of how they will be successful at school, at work, and in life. So this is a tremendous gift that we have here. And we really are going to be able to make a difference. And hopefully the feds will see this and the money will come down to us. And the legislators will allocate it to us, and we can do this for all the children, 0 to 5. Thank you very much.
So when we were identifying partners to work with, not here in just Springfield, but when we were looking across all 5 communities, we were looking for strong partners, and certainly the YMCA of Greater Springfield is one of those partners. But we were also really interested in partnering with Head Start and with YMCAs in particular because they represent such a big part of our early education system. So it was important to us that we established a foothold within those organizations. So batting cleanup for us in a long lineup that may in fact be louder than a major league lineup is Dr. John. It's batting cleanup not because he looks the part, which is true, but also because I learned today that he's a former preschool teacher. So there's nobody more appropriate. Work on all aspects of this. Thank you.
Everyone said, ooh, like, because it was a man in a preschool classroom. It is pretty unusual, but, you know, it was the best job I've ever had. The superintendent took my collaboration speech already, but I did want to say one thing about why it's so important. The thing about collaboration is that the protection has to come from so many different angles because the threats are coming from so many different angles. There's a class we used to teach for our after-school program, just really talking about developmental assets and why it's so important and exactly what it is and what it means. So we'd put someone in the middle of the room, and then I'd give like 10 people wads of paper, just a wad of paper, and then I'd send someone out there and say, you have to stop, that's the child, you have to protect them. And so then everyone would throw the wads of paper. It wasn't a real child, again, we're not throwing paper at a child. They would throw the paper, and no matter how good that one person is, if there's 10 different people throwing paper, you can't stop them all. You could be a great parent, you could be a great teacher, you can't stop them all. But then we do the exercise again, and we put 8 people surrounding the child, standing shoulder to shoulder. Now the paper can't get through. And that's why the collaboration is so important. That's what it's really all about, is that protection. So I will leave the rest of the words that were already said, but I really want to thank you all for coming.
Thank you. I think everything has been said by everybody. And I just want to once again say, I mean, the reason why you are hearing from so many speakers is because these were the essential ingredients to putting this together. It would not have happened if not for the efforts of all the people who are in front of you and all the people behind them. This is the multitude of things adding up, and in the sum, we have this really special opportunity to serve these children and to learn from it. And I think that Dan did an incredible job of pointing out how important that opportunity is for us, because there are so many more children that we want to get to and provide with the same opportunities.